Bob's Breakfast.
We've been talking about wind-ups this morning, and Nancy, you've been the long-term victim of one.
I've been with my husband for 28 years, and for 25 of those years, I believed that he could actually tell the colour of my knickers just by feeling them. Now, I've now realised that he actually has a little sneaky peek earlier on in the day, and then he saves it for an opportune moment, and then he tells me the colour of my knickers, and I honestly believed it.
And what he's actually doing is he's copping a feel without you minding, because you think he's doing important research.
Absolutely.
And how was he found out?
Because I caught him looking, because he now has to put glasses on, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Now I've got this image that looks really pervy of a bloke putting glasses on and then sneaking a peek.
Thank you. That's exactly how I think it is.
I'm Graham Mack with your lost and found stories. What's yours, Jane?
My uncle was on the beaches at Dunkirk.
Yeah.
And he lost a St. Christopher, Gold St. Christopher.
Yeah.
Didn't think any more of it. Anyway, 30 years later, he was on a coach trip with his wife around Cyprus.
Right.
He was sat next to a fella on the coach chatting away to him. He says, I know you from somewhere. And he says, oh, I don't think so. He says, so he went for all the regiments. Still didn't know him. Anyway, he's got this St. Christopher around his neck. He said, oh, that's nice. He said, where'd you get that from? He said, I found it on the beach at Dunkirk. He
No way.
You're joking. He said, that's mine. He said, oh, really? And he's like, oh, I said, do you want it back? He said, no. He said, you've had it for 30 years. He said, you found it. He said, you keep it.
That's unbelievable. What are the chances?
I know. I couldn't believe it when he told me, but that is a true story.
Fantastic. Jane, thanks so much for your lost and found story.
Okay, thank you.
Morning, Christopher.
Surprised about Leicester City results, that's for sure. I wish I put a bet on.
You should have done. 5,000 to 1. Even a quid would have sorted you out, wouldn't it?
Oh, most definitely. Tom Hanks put 100 quid on it. It's estimated to take home 500,000.
Wow, I didn't know that. All right.
I've been reading up on it all online. It's bloody mental.
So, what have you done to achieve the impossible?
Well, they always, my family and friends always said they didn't expect me to get out of college and, to be honest, even have kids. So,
why did they say you'd never make it out of college?
Mainly because of the fact I've got autistic spectrum disorder and Asperger's. So obviously a lot of difficulties come out with that when you're growing up.
Yeah.
But I've learned to cope and move on and learn coping mechanisms that most people take for granted. So
that is a fantastic achievement. You've done it. You've beaten the odds. You've done your own Leicester City.
Most definitely.
Christopher, congratulations and thanks for sharing. So the government's on about regulating tips in restaurants. So we've been talking about tips this morning. Ben's on the phone. What do you reckon?
Well, I think if service is exceptional, then yeah, tipping sort of comes as standard. Feel bad if you left somewhere and didn't tip if you were really happy with the service that you received. I use, like my barbers, for example, I use a fantastic barber called Paul who works out of the cutter in the Old Town in Stevenage.
Yeah.
My beard trim and haircut normally comes to 15 once every couple of weeks. I always leave him 20 because we have a good laugh, great conversation, and he's a nice bloke as well as a fantastic barber. So
there
you
go.
Sort of, you don't mind doing it under those circumstances.
And the next time you go back, you know he's going to be great, he's going to look after you, and everything's going to be sweet.
Especially since it's been mentioned on the radio.
Bob's Breakfast with Coast to Coast, Stevenage Leisure Park.
Let's get the latest news. Chris Hubbard.
We talked last week about the oddity of cats, the mystery of cats.
I love them. I think they're great.
The enigma.
Yeah.
And how we never seem to quite know what they're thinking.
Yes.
But now, somebody's created a collar that allows your cat to speak with a human voice.
No, they haven't.
This is called the Catterbox.
How about that? I like the name.
It's a 3D printed collar, uses a microphone, speaker, Bluetooth technology and Wi-Fi to translate your pet's meows into speech.
No, it translates a funny interpretation of what the cat might be saying.
Do you want to have a listen
yes,
to
please.
some of this?
Yes.
Very short clips. This is one cat.
Hello.
There we go. Here's another one.
No, no, and no.
I quite like that.
Yeah.
You're not convinced?
I think, as the owner of two cats, Memphis and Toffee Pop, I can tell you they communicate perfectly without a collar like that. Yesterday, Toffee Pop made it very clear to me that she wanted biscuits in her bowl, and what was in there was not satisfactory.
Oh, right.
I'm sitting on the couch watching the TV, and she comes up and she's giving me the headbutt thing, and I'm like, what's up? What's up? And she went, ow! And I went, food? Because I knew that's what I meant. It's in your bowl, check it out. And she said, oh, you don't like that? It was so obvious what she was saying. She wanted biscuits. In fact, I think our two cats, particularly Toffee Pop, instead of saying meow, I think they say me, 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 me. So Leicester City did it. They beat the odds. Everyone said, you're dreaming. You can't win the Premiership. You're Leicester City. But they went ahead and did it anyway. When have you done this? Beaten the odds when they said you couldn't do it and you could. You went and did it. You proved them all wrong. Sam?
When I was 18, I was just about to do my driving test.
Yeah.
And for the couple of days leading up to it, I got really emotional, very nervous, and all I could do was cry.
Right.
And my mum, I was going to take my test in my own car.
Yeah.
I had a little old-style Mini.
Yeah.
And my mum said to me, well, you're never going to pass. If you keep crying, you're just not doing yourself any favours. Nobody's going to pass you if you're bawling your eyes out.
Yes.
Well, I must have done something right. Either that or the chief examiner of Winchmore Hill, who was my examiner on the day at Loughton, he must have felt sorry for me in that case because he passed me. First time, oh yes, get in. And I was crying before, during and after my test.
You beat the odds. Well done, Sam.
Thank you.
Obesity could be contagious. Scientists are suggesting now. They say they've done a huge study of bacteria in the human gut and found 1/3 of species produce spores which survive in the open air and can potentially move between people. You can catch fatness, is essentially what they're saying.
You can't catch it in, like, for instance, an illness that you can catch. Let's talk about something really serious, like malaria. The mosquito bites you and you get malaria, no matter what you do. You catch the flu. You get the virus, you're in bed for a week. You've caught it, there's nothing you can do. If you eat too much and don't exercise enough, there's something you can do. So, yeah, I'm sure some people are more inclined to eat too much and not exercise enough. But when it's all boiled down, that's the problem. For some people, it's easy to control their diet and they love exercise. For some people, it's difficult. Surely they're saying that some people who have this bacteria find it more difficult to have a healthy diet and get the right amount of exercise. They can't just say this bacteria makes them fat.
They reckon that, like in many diseases and conditions, they say obesity could be triggered or exacerbated, this is what they're saying, by changes in gut bacteria. There is some good news as well, because they reckon they could eventually create a pill containing a mix of bugs which could restore healthy levels of this bacteria. So chances are you won't get that extra boost of being fat.
And the real good news is you can't take the pill on an empty stomach. I'm Graham Mack, and I am rubbish at clothes shopping. My favourite pair of Levi's has got a hole in one of the back pockets. It's caused by a little zip on my wallet that lives in that pocket, and over time it's worn its way through. So I decided to get a new pair of jeans. Saturday, I went to the Levi's shop in Regent Street, tried a few on, and then I found the perfect pair of 511s. I really couldn't believe how well they fit. I also couldn't believe the price. £95 for a pair of jeans. You can buy a suit for that. Anyhow, they were such a perfect fit I decided to buy them anyway. So after I've paid, I told the shop assistant that the reason I needed a new pair of Levi's was because the current ones have the hole in the back pocket. She said, we do repairs here, you know. I said, really? How much is a pocket repair? When she gave me the price, that's when I got another shock. It turns out that the same shop that sold me a pair of jeans for £95 would have only charged me £7 to repair my old ones.
Bob's Breakfast with Coast to Coast Stevenage Leisure Park.
Let's get the latest news now with Laura Cress.
Boaty McBoatface in the poll. That was the name that was chosen to name this ship. But
in the fake, corrupt, anti-democratic poll, the end of democracy.
Well, this is what people have been saying. And now there's a petition calling, because of course they're going to call the ship Sir David Attenborough instead.
Which is what they were going to do all along.
Probably.
And they thought people would come up with that on their own and they didn't, so they got disappointed.
Yeah. Yes.
And cheated. They cheated.
Well, yeah. Now there's a petition. It's calling on Sir David Attenborough to stand up for democracy by legally changing his name to Boaty McBoatface.
Good plan. Although that's wrong too, because if you see this vessel, it's not a boat. It's a ship.
Yes.
Shippy McShipface.
And
let's face it, because of a certain expression to describe a certain form of intoxication, Shippy McShipface is funnier.
You've done well saying that several times.
Thank
now.
you.
I don't know if I want to say that.
Good morning, Julie.
Good morning, Graham. You're talking about awkward situations today.
Yes.
I used to work for the Comet newspaper. We used to have to go off and do networking at Chamber of Commerce breakfast meetings.
Yeah.
So before we actually all sat down to breakfast, this was about 7 o'clock in the morning, I went up to this man and I said, oh, hello, my name is Julie Smith. I work for the Comet newspaper. Who are you? Who do you work for? And he said, my name is Mark, Julie. I joined 2 weeks ago. I sit opposite you on the table.
Oh, no. He hadn't made much of an impact, had he? No.
Obviously hadn't.
Oh, dear. Oh, no. And did you get on with him from then on, or was it always a little bit awkward?
So I ended up being his manager. He was a great guy. But we got on all right. I just blushed and laughed and moved on to the next person.
Good morning, Andrew.
You're talking about when you witnessed a crime in action.
What crime have you witnessed in progress?
So we used to live in a flat in Potter's Bar, and the window of the kitchen used to overlook the walkway to get into the flat.
Yeah.
And on several occasions, while standing there washing up or anything, we witnessed a car turning up, several bodies getting out of the car, going to the side window of one of the properties downstairs, handing over an envelope and receiving a bag of goodies in return. That's happened several times, so I was like, that doesn't seem quite right. And we could smell the smell of weed quite often. So it kind of sort of two and two together, and then reported it to the police, and they said, oh, can you monitor it for us? So we became sort of civilian detectives for a little while.
Did you really?
Made a note of the registration. Sorry,
that would have been quite exciting.
Yeah, it was interesting.
You're on a stakeout.
Yeah. Yeah, so we used to sit there and watch and wait, and it used to happen around about 2 o'clock every day on the dot without fail.
Yeah.
So the timekeeping was quite good.
Yeah.
And just a note of the registration of the vehicle, what the vehicle was, what people looked like. And then about 2 weeks later, we hear this smash, and then someone shouts, police, police.
Yeah.
And they raided the property in the end.
Wow. Now, did it go to court, and did you have to show up as a witness?
No, we sent a witness, a written witness statement into the police.
Yeah, that was all they needed. Well, they caught him red-handed, didn't they, in the end? Yeah, so they didn't really need that to convict them. They had him. Yeah.
Nope. And what made it worse is there was 2 little children in the property as well.
Was there? Yeah. Ratbags. All right. Andrew, thank you so much.
No worries. Cheers, Graham.
Oh, I see the voice of Bob is working in the next studio. I see him there on the side of the double glazing. Voice of Bob, he's the bloke that does all those funny lines in between the songs during the day. Actually, can you talk? Let me just patch him through. Morning. Good morning, can you hear me?
Yes.
Once again, I had the wrong button pushed and all I got was ing. So I'm guessing you'd said good morn before that.
No, I just go around saying ing.
Oh, do you? Okay, why not? It's implied, isn't it? So you don't need the rest of it.
Yeah, I just go around giving gerunds out.
Yeah.
Ing.
Yeah. The one that annoys me, though, is when people give it's like, if you go, excuse me or pardon, you want someone to say something again. They say the last bit, not the first bit. Do you know what I mean? They say, say somebody says, here's what you hear. You hear blah, 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 in the garden next Thursday. And you go, I'm sorry, what was that? And they go, in the garden next Thursday. That's the bit I got.
That's the exact part. Oh, no, I got the garden thing.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. When someone says excuse me or pardon, they got the last bit. Because if they didn't get the last bit, they're not going to say excuse me or pardon. They need the first bit to make the last bit make sense. Yeah. But the people who repeat just the last bit are doing you no favours at all. Morning, Gary.
I witnessed jewellers getting robbed in daylight in Wellingham City.
In broad daylight? And how did they do it? What was the MO?
They mounted their pavement on the motorbike, jumped off it, started smashing the window in with a sledgehammer.
Smash and grab?
Yeah, well, they didn't get much. I sort of intervened. Some old gentleman tried to get involved, and they started throwing him around, so I got involved. And
you got involved? What did you do?
Tried to fight him.
What, with the crims?
Yeah, sort of got involved with the guys with the crash helmets on and made a nuisance of myself.
Excellent. And did the cops get him?
I don't know. There was a whole series of those kind of raids going on, but a lot of people did get prosecuted in Enfield afterwards.
Yeah, that's great that you just got stuck in. Brilliant. That'll make them think twice. Or you'd hope so anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for sharing, Gary.
No problem.
What about this Old Trafford fiasco?
They evacuated 20,000 people out of the stadium?
Well, they eventually evacuated the whole stadium and called the game off. That's over 70,000 people. It was a fake bomb left there by a security company from a training exercise?
That's what they're saying, yeah.
Okay, and it had been there for 4 days. So first off, I don't think we can claim that as a successful training exercise.
Yeah.
They failed to find the fake bomb.
Well, funnily enough, there was somebody commenting on this morning saying, well, actually, it was a complete success because they found out the source of this and what the cause. I thought, what a load of rubbish.
No, the whole idea of a training exercise is if something suspect is in the football ground, that they find it. They couldn't even find the device that they hid. Good morning, Debbie.
I've just witnessed a crime.
Really?
Just this second, yes. The car parking charges at Hertford County Hospital.
Yes, that is.
A crime.
And happened in daylight as well. Daylight? Yeah. It's incredible, isn't it? How much have you had to pay?
I think it was £3.40. I had to take my lovely dad for a blood test. We were in there about 20 minutes. I think it was £3.40.
For 20 minutes worth of parking. Yeah, that is a crime, and you witnessed it in progress. Debbie, thank you so much.
Okay,
all right, thank you. If you'd like to report a crime that you've witnessed, give me a call, 01438 422 106.
Bob's Breakfast with Coast to Coast, Stevenage Leisure Park.
So what went on at Old Trafford? Turns out that this suspect package was a fake bomb left behind by a security company after a training exercise. Now, I'm no security expert, but I have to say I'm pretty sure that training exercise was a failure. Simon's on the phone.
Sorry, I was laughing so hard about that Manchester security company that couldn't count.
The security company planted a fake bomb in a training at the end of the training exercise. Somebody's there, stood with a clipboard. He says, like, if we got everything back in, let's just check here. Walkie-talkies, 17, check. Fluorescent jackets, 14 fluorescent jackets, check. Torches, 24 torches, yes. Torch batteries, yeah. Fake bomb. Who brought has anyone seen the fake? Oh, he must have. I'll just tick it anyway.
Bob's Breakfast.
Good morning. How are you, Jane? You all right?
Very well, thank you.
Okay. You're from Welwyn Garden City?
Yes.
And you work in an optician's?
Yes.
Do you ever get Polish people come in to have their eyes tested?
Yes.
Yeah, that must be interesting for them, because some of them must look at the eye chart, and the optician must go, can you read the chart? And some of them might go, read it, I know the fella. Morning, Jackie.
Morning. My husband was there yesterday.
At Old Trafford?
Yeah, and I have to say that, okay, it was a hoax and they evacuated everybody, but if it wasn't, oh God, I'm getting upset now. I don't know how I'd feel today.
Yeah, but Jackie, it was not even close to being the real deal. It was a training exercise dummy bomb.
But it's still got to be done. The training's got to be done somewhere, hasn't it?
Yeah,
somewhere has got to be done. And actually, it did them a world of good, because they had never evacuated everybody in that stadium before, because nobody would play to the game. They wouldn't do it, would they? So yesterday, it was really good exercise. And okay, he went up there and he watched the football. Well, he didn't watch the football, and he got fed up and all the rest of it. But in fact, he can stay up there for another 2 days with his mates, enjoy himself up there, and always look on a positive, always make a positive out of a negative. Yeah. And now he's got another 2 days with his friends, and he can watch the game tomorrow night. But actually, to me, you know, inside my tummy, I don't care, and I'm glad it happened, and, you know, it's all great exercise for all of them.
Well, you've got to be worried about a security firm that couldn't find a bomb that they themselves hid.
Well,
because the training exercise, the bomb wouldn't have got left behind if at the training exercise they'd found the dummy bomb that they left. You've got to be worried about how tight security is when the company couldn't find a bomb that they themselves hid.
No, but do you know what? Lighten up. It was a hoax. Okay, yes, unfortunately it was.
Well, actually, it wasn't a hoax. It was a cock up. That's what it was. It was a security cock up.
Oh, well, hey, yes, but you know what? We all make mistakes. Bless them. They do a great job. Leave them alone. Let them get on with it.
I'm glad everybody's safe and you're feeling good. But
it's a whoopsie-daisy. It's a whoopsie-daisy. Get over it.
Take us through it, though, Jackie. Were you watching the game on TV?
No.
How did you find out about it?
Oh God, I was at a village, and they can't even get. I mean, they can't even get carrier pigeons out there, let alone internet. So I didn't have any signal or anything.
Yeah.
And when I drove away from the village, which was literally 4 hours later, my phone had gone. I must have had 18 missed calls from everybody and texts and everything. And my dad said, "Phone me. I've got some news. Phone me." And I said, "What's the matter?" And he said, "Jack, there's apparently a bomb scare at Man United." And anyway, and then my husband had texted me and said, "No, we're out of the stadium, and I'm well away from the stadium." And and I phoned him and said, "Are you okay?" And he said, "Yeah, we're okay." So it was a bit scary, but we're all right. And I'll keep you in touch. He said, "We're all going to go to a pub now and have a meal." And I said, "Oh, perfect."
Perfect. Yeah. So he's still up there. He's still up there, and he's going to watch the game tomorrow.
He's still up there. He's still up there, and he's still there till Tuesday. And he gets another couple of days with his mates. So
all worked out well.
I think it's good. Exactly.
Jackie, thanks for sharing.
I think we've all had a problem with delivery drivers at some point where packages have been left in obscure places. I came back from holiday, found a package in my wheelie bin, but it wasn't quite this bad. Honestly, it was bin day that week. This story, though, is quite beggars belief. A Royal Mail postman was struggling to get a vinyl record to fit through a letterbox.
I don't like where this is headed. This is a 12-inch vinyl.
This is
a 7-inch single will probably go through a letterbox.
Yep.
But 12-inch vinyl would not know.
And there's normally stickers on these letters that say "Do not bend" or "fragile." Well, this guy decided to fold it in half. The woman's husband, who's been speaking in this story, ordered the record online to add to his collection of vintage records. Mm-hmm. So this was one that was probably quite expensive, to be honest. Naturally, it had the word "fragile" across the front in large red text. And the picture, I mean, it just looks awful. It rattles a lot. as well.
Yeah,
this
you would have
record,
thought he would
recording
have
it.
realised something was up when it went snap.
Yes, yeah. He ignored all the warnings to not to bend this, and all these pictures have hit the internet now of this parcel folded in half. It's not in a good way, to be perfectly honest.
In defence of the Royal Mail, and I always defend the Royal Mail because they know where I live.
Sounds sinister.
In defence of the Royal, this guy is not typical of your postman.
No,
most postmen are brilliant.
They are, yeah.
I tried to test them once and got into a lot of trouble. You hear about this in Birmingham?
No.
For my birthday one year, we lived in Birmingham, and for my birthday one year, I wanted a poster of The Italian Job, the movie, because there's a great movie poster of that, because it's got the bus and the minis, and there's an E-Type Jag in it from on the mountainside.
Which one you mean? Yeah.
The poster's excellent, and I wanted the poster. So Julie found it. We were shopping in Chelsea or something. Anyway, we found it in London, and they didn't know. Anyway, long story short, she rang them up and they posted it up. And when it got to us, it was damaged. And I was working on a radio station in Birmingham at the time. Oh, it doesn't exist anymore. I can say BRMB. I was on there, and I was whining about this on the radio, as I tend to whine about things. And I said, this is not typical of how the Royal Mail works. Normally, you get something sent to you, and it's perfect. There's no problem at all. In fact, I'm sure we can prove it. So I went and I asked the boss. I said, I want to run a contest where we prove that the Royal Mail can deliver fragile packages. How much money can I have to give away in my contest? And he went and he looked at some sums, looked at the budgets, and he gave me £4,000.
Wow.
He said, you can do a contest for £4,000. I said, fine. So I went on the air the next day and I said, here's the deal. I want you to post me at BRMB, post me a raw egg in an unpadded envelope. You're allowed to sellotape it down. First intact raw egg I get, you win £4,000. I didn't realise that the main Royal Mail sorting office for the United Kingdom is in Birmingham. And it's automated.
Okay.
And the very expensive machine that had only been operating a couple of months was the next day completely clogged up with runny egg.
Oh, God. They have rollers, don't they? That these packages go
between. All these eggs. Thousands of them. I'm Graham Mack. On the phone, Manny from Manchester. What can I do for you, Manny?
This suspect package they found at Old Trafford.
Yeah, what about it?
Was it a trophy?
Get off.
This is Bob.
I'm Graham Mack, and Chris Hubbard has your news.
A number of werewolf sightings have been reported in woods outside of Hull. One person who sighted the potential werewolf in December said she spotted something half dog, half human.
I used to know a girl from Hull.
Yes.
Pretty sure she was half dog, half human.
Bob's Breakfast with Coast to Coast Stevenage Leisure Park.
Good morning, I'm Graham Mack, and the voice of Bob is here. You'll know the voice of Bob. He does all those little funny lines that you hear throughout the day on Bob FM. What a lot of people probably don't know about you, Bob, is that you're quite the petrol head, and you like spotting exotic cars in everyday life. What's the latest one you've seen?
Walking around town, saw an MP4-12C, McLaren.
Really?
Yeah.
That's quite a sighting. That's like £500,000 worth, isn't it?
Just walking down the street. There we are. Oh, there's an MP4-12C. A bright orange colour.
I never get that. I don't get orange expensive cars and yellow expensive cars.
Yeah.
I get black. I get silver.
Sure.
I kind of get white in the right car and the right kind of white.
I get the Ferrari red.
Oh, totally get the Ferrari red.
Makes sense.
Sometimes a nice blue. I'm not a big fan of blue, but sometimes a nice blue. But no way the yellow or the orange. No way. I can understand you getting yellow or orange in something small, like a little Fiat 500 or a smart car, because they're kind of, small and cute, so give them a bright colour. But when something's expensive, it's got to have a bit of class. You know what I mean? I don't get it.
No. Does it come with a huge discount?
No, it's the same price.
Yes, I know. Is it 100 grand cheaper in douchebag orange? Is that the name of the color? I think it must be.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of burnt in my retina. It's there. I can't unsee it.
What would be the best description, the best word to come before the word orange?
Unnecessary.
Listen to Bob on your phone. Download the app now.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
We haven't spoken about the Donald for a while.
We haven't, no.
Because, well, quite frankly, we're embarrassed that the world's most powerful nation is so close to electing him as the president. It's like something out of a movie. In fact, if it was in a movie, you wouldn't believe it.
No,
You'd go, there's no way that big an idiot can get that far along in a presidential campaign.
It's just incredible.
To be pretty close now to be the Republican nominee. Have you heard the John Miller tape?
I've not heard this.
Oh,
no.
Let me play you the John Miller tape.
Is this a treat?
It is a treat, yes. Now, a publicist for Donald Trump, or a press agent or someone who's supposed to work for Donald Trump, called John Miller, made a call. If you listen very carefully, John Miller is clearly Donald Trump.
You think?
Definitely. Donald Trump is talking about himself to the reporter over the phone. Now, the quality of this isn't great, so bear with it, but just have a quick listen and see what you think. I say John Miller is Donald Trump.
Harry, what's your name again? John Miller. And you work with Donald? Yes, that's correct. John Miller. What kind of comment is coming from your agency or from Donald? Well, it's just that he really decided that he wasn't, he didn't want to make the commitment. He didn't want to make a commitment. He really thought it was too soon. He's coming out of a marriage that, and he's starting to do tremendously well financially. As you saw, he got his licenses 5-0 the other day, and totally unanimous. And he's really been working hard and doing well. And probably, as you know, there's a real estate depression in the United States, and he's probably doing as well as anybody there is. And frankly, he wants to keep it that way.
What do you think?
There's a lot of similarities there, aren't there?
He uses the phrase, he's doing tremendously well. Now, I've only heard two people use the phrase doing tremendously well, and they are Donald Trump and anyone quoting what Donald Trump has just said. Here's a bit more of it. I say this is Donald Trump, not John Miller.
And he just thought it was too soon to make any commitment to anybody. So what is going to happen when she being asked to leave, or she's going to be allowed to stay? Well, he treats everybody well, and you don't know him, but he's a... No, I have met him. Have you met him? Yes. He's a good guy, and he's not going to hurt anybody. The one article said he's going to throw around the apartment. It's total nonsense.
He's talking about his divorce, which was going on at the time, and he's going, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. The more you hear it, the more you realise it is Donald Trump, isn't it?
The pattern of the voice as well is just, it's so close.
He's going to always treat her well as he treated his wife well. I mean, he paid his wife a great deal of money in a very bad period of time, and ultimately that was settled. There are those that say that was even put that way. I don't know if you've heard that, but that Trump became poor until he got his divorce, and then all of a sudden he's been doing very well. And I guess you probably heard that too. But he treated his wife well, and he will treat Mama well. And he's somebody that has a lot of options, and frankly, he gets called by everybody. He gets called by everybody in the book in terms of women. And like who? Well, he gets called by a lot of people. Yeah. Well, what about, this Carla Bruni? How important is she right now? Is she?
No, she's now talking about Carla Bruni, which was the French president's missus.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's somebody that she's beautiful. I saw her once quickly, and she's beautiful and all. But I think that he's got a whole open field, really, and a lot of the people that you write about, and you people do a great job, by the way, but a lot of the people that you write about really are, I mean, they just call. Actresses, people that you write about just call.
Are you convinced?
I am convinced.
It's Donald Trump, isn't it?
It is. Well, I've got some audio of him here as well.
Yes. Well, let's have a little bit of that then.
Yeah, okay.
I tell you what, in a certain way, what you did might have been a
It
favor.
is. Yeah.
It's Donald Trump. So he's on the phone to a reporter and he's pretending to be the press officer or publicist for himself. He's not disguised his voice in any way.
No, and just the mannerisms in there as well. They're just spot on for Donald Trump, aren't they?
He's created a character to represent himself. The scary thing is, I thought about doing this at a time where I was finding it hard to get radio jobs. I thought maybe I should create an agent. You know, call him something like Manny Cohen.
Right.
And ring radio station owners and say, look, yeah, it's Manny Cohen. Yeah, I've got this boy, Graham Mack. He's going to be the future of radio. I'm about to sign a deal with him. I know you can't afford him, but I thought I'd give you one more chance before I sign this deal we've got on the table. You know, try and just do this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought about doing this. But here's where we are now in the world. I'm not running for the President of the United States. I am not running to be the leader of the free world. My idea to have someone represent me that was actually me is a crazy idea. But that's as far as it went. Donald Trump, who is running to be the leader of the free world, actually did this. Donald Trump, the man who could have his finger on the nuclear button, is crazier than me.
It's Bob.
Good morning, Simon.
Amazing diatribe about the lovely haired chappie.
Oh, Donald Trump. He's outdone himself now. Just when you thought Donald Trump couldn't say anything more ridiculous, a tape has emerged of him calling himself John Miller, pretending to be a publicist or a press agent for Donald Trump. And he's talking to a newspaper reporter, and he's talking about Donald Trump. But he's not disguised his voice in any way. It's clearly Donald Trump pretending to be his own press agent.
Have you got a sound effect of a ticking clock?
Why? Is it because we're close to the end of the world?
Well, the doomsday clock.
It is the doomsday clock. I thought we'd heard it all about Trump. I really did. But now, I don't know. You know what we should do? You know that song is Uptown Funk?
Yeah.
We need to re-record a version of that, and it's called Uptown Trump Gonna Funk You Up.
This is Bob.
Notes you've left, notes you've found. Kerry.
When my son was about 7,
Yeah.
I'd been out for a night and I was very drunk. And my ex-husband had to go to work.
Right.
So we lived in one of them townhouses.
Right.
And I was fast asleep. And the next minute when I woke up, there was this note on my face.
Right.
Now, bearing in mind he was only 7.
Yeah.
When I woke up, I read the note and it went, I have left home because you would not look after me. And when I turned it over, it went, by the way, I've killed the cat.
Wow. Now, was the cat okay?
Oh, yeah, he hadn't. I'd gone down and I was looking for him.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find him.
Yeah.
And, but I'm in a townhouse and I was hammered. I'd had such a night. And I couldn't find him.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for him.
Yeah.
And it was right at the top in his bedroom, hiding behind the curtain.
Right, and the cat was fine and everything. He just wanted to shock you.
Oh, yeah, no, the cats were okay. He just wanted to make sure that I was alive and I was going to look after him.
Did you learn your lesson? Did you knock the booze on the head?
Well, I did a bit, yeah. He's
right.
15 now, so it's not too bad.
All right, thanks a lot, Kerry. Cigarettes will only be sold in plain packaging now.
That's right, yeah. From today. There was a big court case surrounding this as well.
Big court case surrounding this, and idiots continue to smoke.
Well, seems to be the case that the tobacco industry is still alive and well.
Which is amazing, because there is no other product that, when used exactly as the manufacturer intends it to be used, will probably kill you. Now, you can say there are lots of things that will probably kill you. Food will kill you if you eat the wrong food. Cars will kill you if you do the wrong thing. But they don't expect you to overeat. They don't expect you to drive badly when you buy a car or overeat when you buy food. Alcohol, the same thing. They don't want you to drink to excess. But cigarettes, they want you to smoke 20 a day. That's exactly what they want you to do. And that will kill you. And everybody knows that.
Absolutely.
It's not a secret.
No, you don't go into this thinking, oh, it's healthy for me.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. Plain packet, I don't know. It's not plain though, is it? It's got like diseased lungs and that on it.
Yeah, it's going to be green with plain font and no logos, they're saying.
Yeah. I was talking about this the other day in the office. Because I did used to smoke. From the age of 14 to the age of 21, I smoked.
So you kicked it in reasonably early.
Reasonably
then
early.
Again, you started reasonably early.
Yeah,
so.
but when I say I started at 14, I wasn't smoking 20 a day or something at 14. I was smoking seriously from 18, though. I started smoking because I wanted to appear grown up and cool. And I gave up smoking because I wanted to appear grown up and cool.
It's Bob.
This morning we've been talking about strange ways you've injured yourself, inspired by the University of East Anglia, who have banned the throwing in the air of mortarboards at the graduation ceremony in case someone gets hit in the head with a mortarboard, which has happened to your friend.
It's happened to him, yeah.
Yeah, so we'd like to know daftest ways you've injured yourself. Julie?
It's actually my husband. So when we were both much younger, so 20-odd years ago, younger, slimmer and more flexible, I was showing him how I could put my feet in my mouth.
Okay.
So he decided that he would also do the same thing. So he sat on the floor and tried to put his toes in his mouth and dislocated his knee. So off we went to A&E.
Yeah.
And the nurses were having a bit of banter with us, and they just would not have it that he'd actually put his knee out by trying to put his toes in his mouth. They actually thought we'd been up to some, shall we say, weird position.
Yeah.
And that is how we'd actually had the injury, but it was actually genuinely trying to put his toes in his mouth.
Someone is going to die every 3 seconds because of a resistance to antibiotics.
Somewhere in the world, they're saying by 2050.
Wow.
That's some stat, isn't it?
They're saying it's a bigger threat than terrorism.
That's right, yeah.
Holy dooly. I see they've backed off so much. I mean, we're becoming resistant to antibiotics. This is a fact. The cause, though, is being slightly smudged. They were saying that it was doctors over-prescribing antibiotics.
Yep.
Which is a lie. I haven't been prescribed antibiotics. I can't remember the last time. Can you remember the last time you were prescribed antibiotics?
No.
They were making out. It was at a time when the government, well, they still are, against doctors. And they were just throwing dirt at them and blaming the doctors for... Which is a terrible thing to do, because someone who becomes a doctor wants to help people. To then start blaming them for this problem.
I don't know any doctor who would sort of hand them out, and they were saying it was all down to pressure put on them by patients. No doctor's going to cave into a patient.
No, that was just an out and out lie. It's true though that the drug companies are partly responsible for this, because you need new antibiotics to come along all the time, because naturally bugs develop a resistance, and there's no money in it for them. For the drug companies, antibiotics, you take a course of antibiotics. So you may be on them for a couple of weeks maybe or something, and then that's it. However, if you take let's say, a blood pressure medication, you take that for the rest of your life.
Well, it's interesting because...
A lot more money in it for the drug companies.
Well, GSK, who are based in Stevenage and Ware, are saying they're one of the very few ones who are actually working on antibiotics. And you imagine how many of the drug companies in the world there are.
Yeah. Oh, you can't blame the drug companies.
No.
Because the second word in drug companies is companies. They're there to make a profit. So they're going to produce the products that make the better profit for either their owners or shareholders, whatever it works out. This is where the government really needs to step in and legislate somehow that says you've got to produce this amount of this drug, you've got to produce this amount of new antibiotics every year. Or we fund them so it's not a profit thing. There are ways that the government can fix this by making sure the drug companies do the right thing. But the bottom line, the sinister part of all this, is the reason why bugs are becoming resistant to antibiotics is because we are all taking antibiotics every day without realizing it. Because it's in our food. Antibiotics are fed to farm animals. And now we're taking antibiotics when we eat the food. Now, the truth is a lot like bad poetry. No one wants to hear it. But the truth is, if you don't want to become resistant to antibiotics, stop eating meat. Couples are sharing what they did on their wedding night, and it's not what you think. This is on this app, Whisper. There's all sorts of things, from playing video games to really not doing much at all. Jackie, what do you do?
I fell asleep, and my husband watched Star Wars. All that money I spent on all that naughty underwear. I'd never had matching underwear in all my life until my wedding day. I completely wasted money.
Bob's Breakfast.
Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Graham. How are you doing?
Very good, mate.
Daft way of injuring myself. I decided to put a picture up late one night after a heavy night in the Squirrel in Stevenage.
Right, so Drunk Logic said to you, I'm going to hang that picture right now. I'm going to do it now.
Yeah, I used a step ladder and a drill as well.
Right, okay, so there's power tools involved here and heights. Okay, what could possibly go wrong? And alcohol, yeah. What could possibly go wrong?
Oh, no, I fell off the ladder, put the ladder down, pulled a big massive chunk of plaster out the wall, smashed the picture, cracked a rib, and bruised myself all down one side. And so I sort of got up on the Saturday morning and realised what I'd done.
After this accident, you went to bed?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, as far as I can tell, anyway, yeah.
Right, okay. And it was the next morning you woke up with a broken rib?
Yes, and a living room floor covered in plaster, dust, broken picture, a ladder on its side, and a drill still where I left it. Still plugged in, still turned on, but not running.
So, were you all right in the end? You went to A&E, got all strapped up and everything?
I didn't go to A&E, but I did go to B&Q and get a new picture, a load of filler, and colour matched paint to repair all the damage before the wife got back from her mum's.
I didn't go to A&E. I went to B&Q. Right.
Yes.
Right. So did you get?
I couldn't drive because I couldn't move my right arm, and I had to get someone to sort of take me down there.
So
I managed to plaster a wall and paint a wall all within 24 hours.
With a broken rib.
With a broken rib and no use of my right arm. Yeah.
Yeah, and this was also you wouldn't get into trouble with your missus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Because I know what would have been the bigger problem. I mean, nothing's worth her wrath. So.
Right, Paul, thanks very much for letting us know.
No problem, Graham.
All right. Talk weddings now. There's an app called Whisper where people are sharing what they did on their wedding night. It's not what you'd think. Doing some unusual things, playing video games, all sorts of things. David, what did you do?
I watched Match Today because Arsenal were on it against Middlesbrough and we won 2-1. It was even so bad that I, in between going from the church to the reception, in the car, the chap put nice soft music and I said, oh, any chance we can have the football on? So we listened to football as well on the way to the church.
You old romantic fool, you.
I know.
Bob's Breakfast.
Well, it's a story we can't ignore. This massive search continuing for a second day for an EgyptAir plane that disappeared over the Mediterranean. There's now Greek, Egyptian, French, UK military units all taking part in the operation near Greece's Kopathos Island, looking for this missing plane. It vanished en route from Paris to Cairo, as we know, with 66 passengers and crew when it vanished early yesterday morning. I mean, Greece was saying the radar showed this plane, a big plane, Airbus A320, had made 2 sharp turns and dropped more than about 25,000 feet before plunging into the sea. This is what they're saying the radar shows. Egypt saying the plane was more likely to have been brought down by a terrorist act than a technical fault. So there's some disagreement between the countries there.
How have they worked that? Because you shouldn't be speculating at this stage
shouldn't.
when they haven't even found any wreckage. They thought they'd found wreckage.
But they haven't.
But they haven't found any wreckage. It's like they want to mix it up. Surely, if it was a terrorist attack, the terrorist organisation would have claimed responsibility by now. Otherwise, what's the point?
They normally would have done, wouldn't they?
That's the whole. It's the reason why they do these horrific acts. Is to get publicity for their cause. So there's no point in them blowing up a plane unless they say they did it.
I think it's not helpful when you've got a country actually coming out and saying this, is it?
Yeah.
It just adds and fuels the fire of speculation.
And what are they basing it on? Because all we know, unless they know more than us, all we know is there was no warning of a terrorist attack beforehand. There's been no claim of responsibility for a terrorist attack. There were 66 people on the plane. 3 of them were air marshals. There were 3 air marshals on the plane. So it's unlikely that somebody managed to get into the cockpit with 3 air marshals on board. As well as that, usually when a bomb goes off on a plane, like in the hold of a plane or in a passenger's baggage something, that's the end of that. But no, this plane made a right turn 90 degrees and then made other turns. That's not how a terrorist... Usually it's just blown out of the sky. So that doesn't make... Where are they getting this terrorist thing? What do they know? What are they not telling us?
It's possibly putting 2 and 2 together and getting 84. I don't know. It's... There's so many questions that are unanswered at the moment. The Egyptian president has ordered the country's civil aviation ministry, army-run search and rescue centre to take all necessary measures to try and find the wreckage of this plane as well. Like you said, they've found items in the sea. Life jackets in the sea were later found not to be from this plane as well. So a lot of questions still hanging over.
Why can't they just say, it's too early to tell what happened. We're going to have a thorough investigation, and as soon as we know something, we'll let you know. Why can't they just leave it at that?
It would make more sense at this stage, because this morning, if there was something to say, we'd be talking about it. We'd be giving you the facts about it.
Yeah.
Yet, there's sort of countries' leaders coming out and saying, it might be this, might be that.
But they're just guessing. Their guess is as good as ours.
That's right.
They were about as connected to this flight as we are.
They were also saying that they tried to contact the pilot when he entered Greek airspace. Everything appeared normal. Then when trying to contact him again, the plane was set to enter Egyptian airspace, but despite repeated calls, the aircraft did not respond. So they don't know what happened there. And until they get this voice recorder...
Yeah.
The cockpit voice recorder again. That's kind of key
and once
to this.
Once again, cockpit voice recorder. This is a stupid system. The worst place to keep that information is on the plane.
Absolutely.
In this day and age where we've got cloud computing, where it's easy to upload information to a cloud. I have all of my stuff stored on Google Drive. I've got 95 gigabytes of information, and I'm talking movies, music, email, photographs, videos, the whole thing. I've got them all on Google Drive. It's in a cloud. I've no idea where it is. It's not on my computer. It just means any computer I go to in the world, I can access my stuff. You could have the information, the telemetry telling you what the plane's doing, the position of the flaps and the tail and the engines and everything, and the voice recording from the cockpit. You could have that beamed to a cloud and stored somewhere else, anywhere in the world. But no, it's recorded on, I think it's still recorded on analog tape, isn't it?
I think it was the pilots who objected to this.
They did, because it was an invasion of privacy.
That's right.
Private conversations on the cockpit. Well, all they have to do is erase, every time the plane lands, erase the last flight. That's all they have to do. It's easy to do.
Some sort of system in place to do that.
Yeah, and because loads of... I mean, those 2 Malaysian planes that went down quickly, one after the other. There was one that was actually shot down, wasn't there? And then there was the other one. We don't know what happened to it.
That's right.
Black box voice recorder, never found. Never found. 9/11. Voice recorders, never found. The worst place to keep... they're keeping the information in the worst possible place to keep the information. The airline industry has led the way on safety. That's why it's been such a success. Other forms of transport like trains and buses and everything else has learnt from aviation about security, about what to do and how to be safe, and air crash investigations and how they do an investigation, and then they bring in policy almost straight away, changing the rules on whether there needs to be lights on. After that Manchester flight they brought that crashed at Manchester in the 80s, they brought in rules about there needs to be lights in the floor so you can find your way out, which makes sense because all the smoke's at the top and all the exit signs shouldn't be at the top. All these little things they bring in and make it safer and safer and safer, and we're still keeping the essential information in the wrong place. The voice of Bob's here, the voice of Bob. He does all those funny lines in between the songs through the day. Neither of us can believe that these crusty old sexists at this golf club in Scotland are still not allowing women members. I worked on a construction site where we had women welders, we had women pipe fitters, riggers. We had lots of women on the site. This is in New Zealand. And Bob, you work construction as well. You work with ladies too.
There was a welder on the swing shift who looked... I thought about her the other day. She was quite attractive, but was sort of like a stray cat or a feral cat that if you walked past her and said, evening, you'd get away with it.
Yeah.
But if you tried to do something else and engage her in conversation, you would be dead.
Oh, really?
She just looked like she would just tear you apart.
Oh, right.
She was small.
Yes.
Skinny. Yeah. But just looked so deadly and ferocious.
I love the description, like a stray cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks...
If you try and... Okay. If you walk past a stray cat, hello, kitty.
Yeah.
And you keep going. If you try and pet it...
Oh, yeah.
Your hand's going to be ripped off with just a...
Yeah. Wow.
Which she was the same kind of way, it seemed. Just the air she gave off was the same kind of thing. If you said, okay, if you said, hello, evening, all right, walk past her, you'd be fine.
Yeah.
If you said, what are you doing when you get off? She would just tear you limb from limb.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they're a strange breed. We had female welders on the site too. They were good welders. I think they got a lot more patience than some of the guys. Because, this sounds sexist, but women are really good at like intricate work, like sewing and stuff, and that's what welding is at the highest level when it's ASME 9 pipe welding with it all gets x-rayed. It's got to be precise. And, we had one. I was fitting up something on the shutdown and I said, can you just put a tack in the top there? And she put a tack in the top. I said, just put a tack in the bottom. I've got my spirit level and I'm working it all out, keeping it all straight and whatever. I said, just put the last tack in there on that side there. That'll do, love. And she went, my name's not Love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luck you got out alive.
So maybe it's a common thing with your female welder.
Could be. Be.
Yeah, it could well be. Yeah. But I suppose, having to prove yourself in a man's world, extreme man's world.
Yeah.
Every day, every hour, you're vigilant, hyper vigilant for anyone who wants to put you down or say you're not as good as a bloke.
Yeah.
When in actual fact, most of the female welders were better than the blokes.
My name's not Love. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. It was because I didn't know her name. It's like if it had been a bloke, I would have gone, just put the last one in there, mate. It's what you do when you don't know someone's name.
Sure.
And I couldn't say mate to a girl. So I said Love, which was wrong. Yeah.
This is Bob.
I don't trust Cambridge. I went there yesterday. I'm very suspicious of a town that hates cars as much as Cambridge does. I mean, there are loads of streets you're not allowed to drive down. It's ironic that there was once a car named after this place that hates cars so much. Cambridge loves push bikes. The blinking things are everywhere. Why are they encouraging you to ride a bike instead of driving a car? For every mile you ride on a bike on the road, you're 6 times more likely to be killed than if you were driving an actual vehicle. Now, I don't believe Cambridge City Council are trying to kill its citizens and visitors. That's ridiculous. I believe the truth is much more sinister. Cambridge University was where the KGB recruited communist spies. Burgess, Philby, Maclean and Blunt all sold British military secrets to the Soviet Union. Cambridge has a dark past, rooted in communism. Is it a coincidence that they want you to ride a push bike? Think about it. Which country has the most bicycles? Red China.
This is Bob.
Navigational disasters and navigational stories. And Nancy, you had one that happened on a boat. What was it?
The alarm was going off and I was thinking, oh my God, we're going to have to get in the water.
Wait a second. Talk about, how big was this boat?
Great big thing, ferry.
Oh, it was a ship. Where were we going to?
Ship going to France.
Right, yeah, cross channel. Right, the alarm went off. Goodness me, terrifying.
Yeah, it was. And I kept saying to people, you know, where's that alarm? Where's that alarm? Anyway, I went to see, they said, go and see the purser, I think. Went and saw this bloke, and he said, right, madam, I'll go and check. He went away, came back 2 minutes later, he said, madam, I think it's your personal alarm in your handbag. Me all the time.
Because wherever you went, you could hear this alarm. Absolutely. On every deck, everywhere, in every restaurant. Wow, it must be serious.
It was horrible. So, yes, that's my navigation disaster.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Nancy.
Bob's Breakfast.
So, did you watch the new Top Gear?
I flicked through it on iPlayer and stopped to the bits that were bearable.
Bearable.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad, isn't it?
It's not great.
I got to admit, I didn't watch it live when it first came on.
No.
I was watching the Twitter feed, which was incredibly entertaining.
It was brutal.
Yeah, great. And then last night, I think I did what you did. I went on the iPlayer.
Yeah.
And I kind of flicked through. And it was just car crash television, wasn't it?
Well, I watched the first 5 minutes. I thought, I want to like this.
Yes.
I want to go against all the people who say it's going to be rubbish.
Yes.
Watch 5 minutes, thought, oh, Chris Evans. And then just flicked through a little bit more.
I mean, Matt LeBlanc didn't do much.
No, he didn't.
But because Chris Evans was so bad, he looked brilliant.
Yes.
Because he was just an antidote to this shouting idiot. A shouting idiot from the early 90s. It's weird. I've always thought that Chris Evans is just a shouty idiot. Maybe that's because I started out on the radio in Australia, where it's a whole different... It was, you know, this is the 90s, whole different style. I mean, Britain has always had the... DJ, like a children's entertainer, which is what it is.
Yeah.
Was in Australia when I was there and I first started getting into radio. You had to be really cool and you had to have a really deep voice. There was a number one station in Sydney, or number one music station was Triple M, and it was a rock station, Aussie rock. You know, it was all like In Excess and, you know, Midnight Oil and that kind of stuff. And the jocks on there, mate, they were all deep. This is Triple M. In fact, their jingles, they didn't have a singing jingle. You know, here we have, singing jingle FM was over there. Their jingle went, Triple M.
That was it?
It literally whispered. It just went, Triple M. It was very, very laid back. And so you'd go out to the bush. You know, I worked 6kg Kalgoorlie in Western Australia, and all the jocks on there were all trying to sound like Triple M jocks. So it'd be like, 6kg Kalgoorlie, don't forget to go down to Acropolis's kebabs. Everything was like really laid back. So when I first came to Britain in 97, and everybody's talking like this, and I'm like, what's the matter with the radio over here? It's like, I mean, there are all different styles. You know, I've been to radio conventions in America a bit, and it's different again over there. I was talking to Don Anthony, who's a consultant. I was talking to him about a presenter over there called Rush Limbaugh, who's a bit odd, and he said, you know, he used to be a puker. And I went, I'm sorry, I don't know what he'd go like, and they have this term for a puker.
Puker.
But like Chris Evans is like beyond that. It's just, so they took a very loud man with a high voice and put him in an echoey room.
It's not the perfect combination.
Not the perfect combination, no.
You see, I wanted to like it.
Everybody
wanted to
did.
like Chris Evans, but
you see, Top Gear, it was about ready for a reboot. It was starting to become a bit played out, and it needed to find its way for the future. But I'm sorry, they're not going to do it with yesterday's man. Morning, Bob.
You know, I was watching an old Top Gear, and they were down in Australia.
Right.
On a farm, herding cattle on a farm that was like 3 million square miles.
Yeah, they're big. They're big down there, yeah.
I thought about it. I know you've been down, but when you wanted a good curry, where did you go?
Let's see. When I lived, the closest I got to living out back was when I lived in Parks in New South Wales. Because you got to remember, New South Wales, you could drive from Sydney to Broken Hill, which is 3 days drive, and you're still in New South Wales. Well, we lived in Parks, which was probably about 5 hours drive from Sydney. Sydney's on the coast. If we wanted a decent curry in Parks, we would have to drive to Sydney.
Yeah.
That would be a 10-hour round trip. Yeah. It's a big place. My first radio job was at 2PK in Parks. And I got my second, I did the afternoon show in Parks on Hits and Memories 2PK. And I was interviewed for my second job, which was at 5C Mount Gambier. I was interviewed while I was on the air. So the boss is on the phone to me saying, outside broadcasts, have you done any of this? Yes, I've done lots of those. Just hold on a second. It's a Memories 2PK. That was the Bee Gees. Today's weather, and today's weather was always just stinking hot. Anyway, At the end of the phone call, he offered me the job. And I'd been in Parks for about a year at that stage. And Julie had been trying to get a job herself for the whole year. And I hung up the phone. I walked into the program director's office and I quit. And he said, "Oh, what's that?" I said, "I've been offered another job. I'm going." He said, "Oh, okay, fine. Well, good luck, whatever." So then I walked home because the radio station was at one end of the street and our flat was at the other end of the street. It wasn't far, and Parks only at that stage consisted of 2 streets, and this was one of them, 2 main streets. It was called Clarinda Street. And I walked in because, you know, it was like 7 o'clock at night or whenever I finished work. And Julie says to me, "Guess what?" And I went, No, guess what? Me first. She said, No, guess what? Me first. Let me go first. And I went, "Okay, you go first." What? She goes, "I got a job today." And I said, "So did I." And she said, "Really? Where is it?" And I went, "You're looking at the new drive time presenter at 5SE Mount Gambier." And she went, "Mount Gambier, where's that?" And I went, "I have no idea." But it's not Parks.
Yeah.
And so then we got out a map, and it turned out Mount Gambier was in another state. It was in South Australia. Now remember, we're only 5 hours inland of a state that takes 3 days to drive across, and I've got a job in another state.
Oh.
And it wasn't even the next state. The next state is Victoria. This job is in South Australia. It's in a different time zone. And, so that's Mount Gambier. Okay, well, we're moving there. Bloke said if I can get there in 3 weeks, the job's mine. I've managed to book us 2 weeks in a hotel that the radio station will pay for, and then after that we have to find somewhere to live. So I rang up and found a cheap removals place.
Wow.
Found a cheap...
I've crossed oceans.
Yeah.
And Australia just sounds so vast.
It's big. It's big. We got a removals guy. The removal guy came and on his own. And I said, "You're on your own?" He says, yeah. He says, and he goes into the pub over the road and pays a guy to help him. So he loads all our stuff into this truck and he sets off for Mount Gambier. So now we're in an empty flat. And our plan was, we didn't have a car. The money they paid me at 2PK was so bad I couldn't afford to run a car. We didn't have a car. So I was going to rent a car, and the local Hertz dealership is actually, they sell lawnmowers. But they have rental cars, and they'd ended up with a load that people had off-hired. And the bloke says to me, I don't know what I'm going to do with all these cars, because he didn't know what to do with them. People were like moving to parks in a rental car, just leaving it there, off-hiring it. So I'm supposed to get the car the next morning. This is like, I think, the Friday night or whatever. So he rings me up. He goes, "Here, mate, I don't want to open up on Saturday morning just for you. You're the only rental I've got this month." He goes, "How about you take the car now?" And I said, "Oh, that sounds fair." Like, he's literally over the road. Everything you can walk to. It's not that big as
yeah.
I said, "Oh, yeah." He says, "But, mate, it's not on hire till tomorrow. Don't be driving it till tomorrow. Just take it now. Save me opening up." I says, "Oh, yeah." So I go get the car. Sister Julie, "Come on, we're off." So, I mean, what are you? We're not going to sit there another night. So we set off, taking turns driving. And it took a few days. And I looked at it on a map, and we'd driven the equivalent of London to Istanbul.
Dear Lord.
And we'd never even heard the radio station. This was before the internet. And I'd really taken a punt, and it's an AM station, and we're getting closer and closer. We're still in Victoria, and we just cross over the border into South, and we just start to hear it coming through. And for all I know, it could be terrible. But it was a really good radio station. And I went there, and things really worked out. After a few months on the afternoon drive show, they gave me the breakfast show. There was a local TV station in town, and I was doing on-camera commercials for a car dealership and a supermarket. Oh, wow. And it really worked out well, the trip to Mount Gambier. And, but it was complete foolishness on my part. But you're right. It's a big old country. It's a big old continent. It's the world's biggest island. It's not far short, Australia, of the size of the United States.
Yeah.
But United States, you got 50 states. In Australia, you got, let me see, New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia. I won't count Tasmania because that's an island. Northern Territory, Queensland, and Western Australia. You only got 7. I mean, you've got Australian Capital Territory, which is Canberra, but that's only one town. You've basically got 7 areas, whereas the US has got 50.
50.
These are big states. Big states. Yeah. Oh, my goodness, it's a big place. Yeah. But good fun. Had a great time there.
This is Bob.
An Indian man, have you seen this?
No.
He's had 366 flags tattooed on his body and all of his teeth removed to try and get more Guinness World Records to his collection. He's made these big modifications to his body so he could put nearly, and this was the aim behind it, of having all his teeth removed, so that he could put 500 drinking straws in his mouth and more than 50 burning candles as well. This is apparently a Guinness World Record.
No, hang on. So he's got the record for the most flags tattooed to his body.
That's right. Yeah.
The record for the most drinking straws in his mouth.
Yep.
And burning candles?
Burning candles, yeah. And this is why he had his teeth taken out, because he wanted to cram more candles into his mouth.
Lucky it's just his mouth, because he sounds like a busy fella, and I'd hate to think he's burning the candle at both ends. I'm Graham Mack, and I hope you're enjoying the podcast. If you are, make sure you share it on Facebook and Twitter, and you can subscribe at iTunes. good morning. I'm Graham Mack, and coming up this... Hang on a second. Hello, Simon.
How do you know it's me?
I tell you, I just sense these things. I know who's calling before they call. It's a thing called DJ Vu.
You've got a way of breaking through the bar, then, have you?
I've got this special gift.
You can see my number.
I can see your face.
You can't.
I can see your face, and you need a shave. And you might want to brush your teeth.
Well, yes, true.
All right.
I've
What can
got
I do for you?
an interesting question for you.
Yes.
You've been talking about Cambridge.
Yes, I don't trust Cambridge because they hate the car and they want everybody to ride bikes, and that's the communist. It's a communist plot. If you look at the country with the most bicycles, that's Red China. Yeah, I think Cambridge has a history of communism. What with producing so many spies and selling all our nuclear secrets to the Russians. Yes.
How would you react if I told you I've got a national security issue relating to Cambridge University in the early 60s, linking straight to the Security Intelligence Service now?
What? Hang on. The early 60s, we're talking Burgess, McLean, Philby and Blunt. So that's well known. What do you mean? You mean there are still Russian spies at Cambridge University?
Well, this one went to Manchester, became a geography professor to give him an excuse to travel the world without children.
Right.
Married American person.
Yeah.
And, well, let's just say claims to have had something to do with something called MI6. And as you may or may not remember, I'm a military person who assisted something called the Secret Intelligence Service while I was working at MOD.
Yes.
And this so-and-so is linked right through to an X-list company that supplies satellites for the country.
Yeah.
He could well be what you euphemistically call a sleeper.
All right, any minute now, someone's going to barge through this door and take us off the air. Any second now. Wait a minute! No, look!
Put your hands in the air!
Oh, look, my hands are in the air. Okay, there's no need to be pointing a gun at me. Look, if I just reach over here to this phone, I can talk to the boss, and I'm sure we can sort this whole thing.